Okay, looks like we're ready to go. Let's go then. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to my stream. I'm Pierre, your host. I hope you're doing okay. I am doing great myself. I'm attacking a brand new painting today. That's always very exciting. So before we get to work, let's do like we always do. We're going to go over to the computer. We're going to check out what we did yesterday, and we'll take it from there. So yesterday, what did we do? Well, of course, we had to wrap up the previous painting that we had finished on Monday. And then we sized up a new canvas, unrolled it, cut it to the right size, stapled it to the wall. And since it had a shitty coat of factory-made gesso, well, we added another coat of gesso just to make it a lot better. So that is basically what we did yesterday. And today, what are we going to do? Well, first of all, we're going to lay out the pattern of our painting, and then it's going to be a very short stream because all we're going to do is put on the background color to this painting. Then we're going to have to let it dry, and then tomorrow, maybe or maybe not, we'll have to put a second coat. Hopefully not, but you never know. So first of all, I'm going to draw out this painting. I'm going to draw a frame around the whole canvas, and then I'm going to draw a circle, and that will give me an idea of basically what the finished painting is going to look like, at least structurally. Then the colors, well, I'm going to go with, again, something quite different. I'm going to go with a black background. I'm not going to paint the background to the frame because I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave that till the end, and like that I'll be able to change my mind eventually. So let's get to work. So I am going to paint a frame. I'm going to lay it out first. So what am I going to go for? I'm going to go for something, my guess is something like whatever this could be. Maybe 4 inches. So I'm just going to make use my compass, and where the two lines intersect, that's basically where I will, that will be the corners of my frame. There we go. I'm going to have to put one in the middle because my ruler isn't quite that long. Here, the same strategy, 2 little lines that will intersect and which will mark the edge of my painting. Here as well. There we go. Starting a new painting, yes. Okay, got that done. Let's grab my pencil here, and let's connect these. Let's connect these lines right here. And the same for up here. Okay, got that done. There we go. Okay, there we go. And our last little line, let's connect this whole thing together. Just like that. Beautiful. Now let's make our center circle, which I'm not sure what it will be. Will it be a mandala, or will I paint like some other kind of a symbol in there? we'll have to wait and see. I usually make those decisions as I walk into the studio, trying to be as, improvise as much as possible when I paint, just so I have that element of surprise as well, especially since a lot of my paintings are very structured, since they're all kind of symbolic. I have a lot of characters in there that are what I consider symbolism. So anyways, I have to find the right size. I usually blow this part, so hopefully today I'll get it right from the start. So how about something, maybe, I want it to be a little bit offside. I don't want it dead center. How about that and that? So I'm just going to do a few little lines so I can step back and see. Let me mark off the center of that. And actually what I should do is kind of find the center between my 2 points here. And I just kind of eyeballed this without really figuring anything out. So let me do it this way. So it's 96 centimeters. So that would be, what would that be, 48? 48 would be the center. So I was definitely off by about 2.5 inches. Not that it really matters, I guess, but what the hell. So now let me step back and see what this looks like. The size of my circle. And actually that doesn't look too bad at all. I think that's about the right size that I would want. So let me get my homemade compass. Nothing more than a string with my pencil on it. So let me get back to my old mark here, find the center. Okay, here, right here. Something like that. Now let's try it from the other side and see if everything matches. So come back to the center. There we go, very good. So I'm just going to step back and take a look again, make sure if that's the kind of circle that I want. Looks a little big, not really sure. So is this a little too big, or is this kind of what I want? I like the size on the top and on the bottom. Maybe I should just move it over maybe a couple of inches. Is that really going to make such a big deal? Moving it 1.5 inches? No, I think I'm going to just leave it the way it is. I don't think it really matters. Really 1.5 inches. I am not going to be bothered with that. So I'm just going to erase my first little pencil marks right here. There we go. Okay, so basically that is what the painting is going to look like. And right now, like I said, I want a black background. The previous painting we did was a very dark purple background. I'm into these solid dark backgrounds before I start going into my colors that I love so much. So where are we here? I got my black paint right here. It's always with my white right nearby. I have a black palette here because we did the outline of the previous painting just a couple of days ago. So I have a palette right here, ready to go. Where's my faithful little knife? Right here. So usually when I have these jars, I transfer the paint into a larger jar, which is so much easier to get to. But since the jar is just, this one is just brand new, for today I'll just take it out of this, but usually I'll take everything, I'll cut it in half, dump it into this larger so we can get the last little drop, because the way they make these, just totally ridiculous. To get the last inch of paint is a real nightmare. You get it all over your knuckles. Really not very practical. You can see that the guys who invented these containers have obviously never painted themselves, but whatever. So let me just get a lot of black here. I am going to water it down, but I am going to want to put it rather thick to keep it really nice and opaque. And hopefully I won't have to put a second coat tomorrow, and that I can start right off by putting some shading, slightly lightly gray, a dark gray, but lighter than the black, just to give it like a really light sort of, well, shadow, just to make it a lot richer. Oops, what am I doing here? I don't know. Making a mess, obviously. There we go. Let me just clean off my knife, and then I am going to work on getting the paint to be the right consistency so it just glides on the canvas the way it should. So is my knife clean? Yes, it is. Okay, so we got that done. Let me just close up my little container of paint. What brush am I going to use now? I have several choices. I think I might use this one. I could go with a very wide one or a medium wide, but I think I'm just going to use this one because it's newer and I kind of want to break it in. And I'm in no rush. Like I said, this stream in 10 minutes will be done. So it's going to be a super fast stream. What's going to take the longest time is probably just getting the paint ready. So let's get to that right now. And I'm actually, just to go a little faster, not that I'm in any rush, I'm just going to pour, there we go, just a sip of water, which will be totally absorbed by the paint. Now when I'm mixing colors, I usually do it on camera number 1 over there. And like that, you can see exactly what I'm doing. We can mix the paints together. But this is black on black. You won't see anything. It's not that interesting. It's definitely not rocket science. All it is just stirring this paint with water to get the right consistency, as I mentioned a second ago. I'm just going to work this around and around. The water has already disappeared. It's been basically absorbed by the pigments and the paint. I'm not sure I'm going to have enough, but it doesn't matter because I won't have any difficulty matching these colors if I have to make some more, right? Since it's black paint, no big deal. What I will do though is just add a little bit more of water. So get all this done. So I hear a lot of racket in the street. I don't know what's going on, construction work or a vacuum cleaner or some sort of noise. Now I've mentioned this before on my stream that I could add a noise gate to my microphone, which will mean it would cut all the sounds out besides my mic and me. But I'm not into that. I kind of enjoy, the whole point of the stream, of course, is to show what's going on in the studio. What's, the life in the studio. And that includes the noises that that you hear, you know. I'm in the old part of Nice. I'm in a building that was built in the mid 17th century. The streets are extremely narrow. There's probably, what, 4 yards between one building and the other. So there's a lot of noise. The noise bounces off the walls of the buildings, and it's a very lively, very tourist attracting area of Nice. Very charming, very beautiful, but very noisy. And I enjoy that. And I like sharing everything, including those the construction noises and whatnot that you can hear. So I am going to go over here. I'm going to get camera number 1 ready so we can start painting, putting down this first coat of background. And I'm just going to start up here on the upper left-hand side. I'm going to put the camera way over to the side, even though it's going to distort quite a bit. But at least I won't be in front of the lens. And of course, I'm going to start, since I'm right-handed, I'm going to start on the upper left hand and work my way down to the bottom right, for the simple reason I don't want to put my hand in the wet paint, which I seem to do anyways, right? That is why this stream is not for children, because I always, I do have a tendency to cuss a lot. Okay, that said, I only cuss when I screw up. So let's go to camera number 1 and let's start putting down this first coat. There we go. So there's my little frame. It's starting right here in this corner. So I'm concentrating on the line that's touching my frame. Not really worrying what's going on the inside. Just want to keep a nice straight line if possible. Usually it doesn't matter, because when I have a frame that's a different color, or the background's a different color, I put a black outline between the frame and the main painting, which means I can always catch up on my screw-ups. But with a black background, I don't think I'll have that luxury. So I'm trying to be as straight as possible. Okay, let's go like that. This paint is on pretty thick, thicker than I usually paint with, but since I don't know. I still think there's going to have to be 2 coats, which is a drag, because I can see already my paint brush strokes. I'll just add a little water and make it a little more fluid. Let's see. Okay. I mean, the first few streams of a painting are always very short, because the first day it's the gesso on the background that has to dry, and then the following days has to be the background colors, 1 or 2 coats, and then the shading, which doesn't take very long also. And you have to wait for all that to dry, so it does go by very, very short streams. And that is basically the first week, the way that goes. There we go. Let me continue up here, get rid of, let's do the hard part first. I'm a little excited because I've never done quite anything like this before. And in my mind, it looks great, which doesn't mean diddly squat, because it could not. I've had that experience before with great ideas that turn out to be nightmares and not very cool, not great paintings. So I won't say too much about it. Definitely will not be overconfident about it. And here as well, I have to be rather precise. All right, pretty cool, very good. Right on, right on. So I'm definitely not going to have enough black paint, but that's no big deal. Again, I was hoping by putting on this paint relatively thick that I wouldn't have to do that second coat, but unfortunately, the way I can see some of my paint strokes showing through, I don't think I'll have that luxury or be that lucky. So it'll be another short stream tomorrow. And since tomorrow is Thursday, I will be streaming on Facebook Live rather than on YouTube. And I'll be streaming in French, like every Thursday. But I'll talk about that later on, tell you how to get there. First, let's continue on this baby here where I have to stay concentrated. Shit. Okay, I just spilt a little bit of water on my frame. A little bit of black paint right here. I'm going to try to wash it off as quickly as possible because not knowing what my frame color will be, I don't want the black to interfere or screw up later. So this is the beauty of acrylic paints, is that if you catch it on time, you can just wash it off with either a little saliva or a little bit of water. Whoops, I should take it easy because obviously I am splattering this paint. So I am just going to come back here for a second because I have no more black paint. So I've done, what, just about half of it, so that's a good way to judge how much I'll need. I'll just put a little more, it doesn't matter because I can always put it back in the jar. At the prices that materials cost, you definitely do not want to waste one drop of paint. That is for sure. So let's clean off our knife again. Like that we don't have to worry about it next time. Wow. Wow. I've never really quite done a painting like this before, black like that. on such a large scale. I have done it on a smaller scale, or painted on leather jackets or jackets that had a black background. So just like before, I'm going to blend in some water with this paint. And it looks like to me I still didn't put enough paint in there. I'll figure it out in a few seconds once the water gets mixed in. Yeah, there is no way in the world I am going to have enough paint, so I might as well just add more paint right now. Why waste any time to make a third batch? I'm not going to need that much more, I'm sure of that, but what the heck. Like I say, let's not have to do a third batch. And like before, I'm going to clean off my knife right away. That's one thing I'm obsessed about, is keeping my materials clean as possible. May it be my paint brushes that I wash off with soap, or the knife. There we go. Very good. So, got that done. I'm going to put this away. And I'm going to add a little bit more water. And let's just mix all this up and see what we come up with. There we go. Twist and churn. There we go. I guess I'm pretty all set right here. Let me just double, triple check this. This looks pretty good. Okay. So let me just step back, see where we're at here. Okay, very good. I'll bring the camera number 1 down a little bit here. I'll continue a little bit more, and then I'll have to probably bring my chair over. So let's go with the dual cameras for a few seconds. Just want to make sure I get all the water out of the paintbrush. There we go. Yeah, I do see these paintbrush strokes, which is a drag. And again, I got a little bit of paint on my canvas, which I'm going to clean up right away. You can see that right down below here. Right there. So just put a lot of water on. And then just kind of, there you go, just like magic. So, here we go. I guess I'll just switch back to, well, let me grab my chair here first. And I'm going to come over here and continue carefully, I should say. There we go, nice straight line. Okay, there we go. Kind of a drag that I'm going to have to put a second coat on. I'm a little disappointed. I was hoping that just because it was black that it wouldn't show as much. But I know that every other color I use as a background, I have to put 2 coats. So I shouldn't be surprised. But it's still kind of a drag though, I must say. I mean, I enjoy painting so much. I hate doing these mini streams. You know. There we go. Let's just get this last. All right, the final stretch. Okay, so let me just put the paint back. Oops, let me get this out of the way. Put the paint back in its jar here. Probably need all this tomorrow for our second coat. There we go, that's all cleaned off. Okay, so just step back one more time, take a look. Well, isn't that gorgeous? Okay, so that concludes, I guess, today's stream. Very good. So, as I mentioned earlier, tomorrow we are going to do our stream in French. We'll be on Facebook Live. I'm not going to do it under the ZenRebel site of Facebook, but I'm going to do it on the one of Le Pigeonnier, which is the site, the Facebook page of the building that I'm in that shares this building. It's a building of 5 flights of studio space. And I'm going to do it on that platform tomorrow. If you go to the TheZenRebel or to my personal page, there will be links to the Pigeonnier, very easy to find. I don't think it's going to be that thrilling, even though because it's going to be the second coat of the same thing as we did today. But if you want to brush up on your French, it's the perfect place to come. So anyways, I want to thank you once again for joining me today. I hope you'll, if you don't join me tomorrow for the French lesson, join me at least on Friday, and then we can start taking, we'll be adding shadowing to this. It'll be another very short stream, but it's the perfect way to start the weekend. So anyways, I'm going to leave you with 2 things like I usually do. The first one is my schedule, and the second one is by saying, ciao mes amis.